My BF wants his ex to move in our baby's nursery. Here's some backstory. My boyfriend was with his ex for 12 years, they broke up nearly 2 years ago and I've been with him for a year. They broke up for many reasons but the main one being his ex coming out as non-binary, queer and polyamorous. My ex, despite being heterosexual and monogamous, stayed with them for nearly 2 years after they came out. He knows it was cruel but he honestly believed he could get used to it and understand. And I don't think at that time he pictured his life without them. Eventually he didn't recognize them anymore and broke up with them. It took a while for me and him to be together as I was deeply uncomfortable with the situation. I was one of their poly partners and had ended things about 4 months before they broke up because I didn't want to be a part of the poly lifestyle anymore. And getting serious with someone I used to swing with has always been a no-no for me. So when he first told me he had left them and wanted to be with only me, I rejected him. I questioned if he was only finally leaving them because he now had backup. I felt although he waited to leave them until he had fallen in love with someone else, not because he needed to leave someone he didn't love anymore. After a few months, he had slowly reassured me and I agreed to try something with him and go very slowly. That was a year ago now and we're absolutely thriving. I really feel like our love is real and see a future with him. Until a few days ago anyway. Also I'm now pregnant. Only the first few weeks so we haven't told anyone yet. Now we can get to the actual part one need to get off my chest. A week ago he got a text from his ex asking to get some of their stuff. He kept their shared house where me and him now live together and yes a lot of his ex's stuff is still here in storage. It initially annoyed me but eventually I became okay with it when I realized they had moved out of their shared 2-bedroom flat and into a tiny room and pays basically the same amount. They also couldn't keep up with the mortgage so my BF's brother bought them out and the brothers now own the flat together and I'm really lucky to live here rent-free. We're all clear about me not gaining anything from the flat also. My BF was hesitant but I told him he had to, it's their stuff and they already got the worst end of the deal so we can be friendly at least. They came while my ex was at work and I was home. I was shocked and pissed when I realized they still had a key but said absolutely nothing and was just polite. They seemed to be too. Then sat down in their past favorite chair and began asking me questions. They had brought a bottle of Bailey's and offered me some but I rejected. They asked why, knowing it was my favorite and only alcohol I drink and I stammered not sure if I should tell them about my pregnancy or not. But they knew immediately and congratulated me but then immediately asking it if I was actually going to keep it as my boyfriend never wanted to be a father and was very strict on it. I shrugged and said that's changed, he wants to be a father now even though we didn't exactly plan this. They looked so hurt when I said that, which was weird to me because I knew they never wanted to be a parent either or even married. They opened the bottle and began drinking it themselves and suddenly began crying. They rambled about how they still want to be with him forever and that was their version of marriage and kids. And how he had betrayed them for a younger hotter model and it was all their own fault for introducing us and pressuring him to sleep with me. Weird because the way I remember, I slept with them once and generally was his partner only. I was his only poly partner while his ex had several. I did see them pressuring him though, to sleep with their partners, and he usually didn't anyway, but they never had to force him with me. But whatever. They talked more about how they should have known he wasn't attracted to them anymore after they came out and that's also why they lost to me because I'm more feminine. And how if he had been honest, they would have not changed. They cried for about an hour before they admitted to also still being in love with him. I comforted them until my boyfriend came home and he took over. Eventually they left and my boyfriend told me he wanted to talk. He said he felt like they were spiraling, it's been 1 year and they still aren't healing, so he wants them to move back in just for a while so he can comfort them and make sure they don't hurt themselves. Yes, they didn't tell me but told him that they've been hurting themselves. He also says part of their issues is financial so staying here rent-free for a while will help them get back on their feet. I asked him where the money his brother gave them went and he didn't have an answer. I should probably mention that his ex has a boyfriend which is why I don't think my boyfriend's help is necessary. I also think him being around them will actually prevent them from moving on. My boyfriend says their new boyfriend just doesn't get them like I do. I asked him where they'd even go and he suggested the spare room that we've just started planning to turn into a nursery. I was absolutely furious and went to stay with a friend for a while. I've been away 2 days now and he's been texting and calling nonstop but still won't change his mind about them moving back in and I've seen on his ex's Instagram pictures of them outside our home, so I think they've already moved back in. I told him we should consider separating and a termination. He blew up and told me he'd be calling his family's lawyer. His family is nice but have always preferred his ex over me and would definitely delete me if they find out I'm pregnant with his child and chose to terminate. I'm really reconsidering having a child with this man now. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting but I really don't feel comfortable making a child with someone who would give our child's bed to his ex.
Relevant comment. Yogurt apart 1411. So, you and his ex were a couple. You and him were a couple. So the ex is mutual to you both? Then he and his ex broke up because the ex sounds like they are unstable at best. They gave the ex a bunch of money and set them up, pursued you and started a family with you. Now that the ex has blown through all the money they got, suddenly they're crying about how they need your boyfriend back and they have regrets. And instead of standing up for you, his supposed girlfriend and mother of his child, he immediately moves this mentally unstable ex into your baby's nursery? His lawyer can't stop you from dumping him and get a termination, and there is literally nothing legally stopping you from leaving before this gets worse. Because you better believe, it's gonna get worse, and is already bad. Him and Psycho are already sleeping together again for sure. I can see it now, they just needed to feel loved and needed me. I only slept with them to help. You are now in a non-consensual poly relationship with your man and ex. This is the biggest red flag relationship from start to finish.
OP. To be clear, me and them never dated, just hooked up once at a lesbian single event. They then introduced me to their boyfriend and we became regular partners. I then ended things with them because I realized the poly lifestyle wasn't for me. When I left, he told me it was also not for him, but he couldn't leave his ex. He has been with them his entire adult life and he struggles with abandonment issues himself, so struggles to leave anyone. Eventually he had to, but I had already left when he did. I think he did it to get me back. I'm quite silly. I shouldn't be so worried about his lawyers as we're in the UK. It worked in temporarily scaring me, but only because I'm uneducated. I am only slightly worried about his constant guilt tripping though. I really wanted this to be his decision just as much as mine. I booked a consultation with a termination clinic already, in heat of the moment, and I'll decide if I'll follow through or not on the day. It's a week away and I'm hoping my boyfriend does something by then. Also, another thing I want to make crystal clear, I have zero doubts in my mind that they are not sleeping together. My boyfriend gags at the sight of them sometimes. He's only doing all this because he was a big heart and often doesn't realize his insistence on helping certain people hurts others. I think he truly doesn't understand why I have a problem with this ex living with us, if it's because they need help and he has no feelings.